Lin Dunn, the famous general manager of the Indiana Fever, has had enough. She is a seasoned veteran of the game who has seen both the highs and lows of professional basketball. But what she's seeing today has pushed her to the edge, leading her to speak out with genuine conviction. What triggered the event? None other than the unrelenting and some say deadly roughness that Caitlin Clark has faced on the court. This isn't just another day in the WNBA. It's a crisis in the making, and Dunn is prepared to act.
Amazing. It's amazing. I cannot believe that many people are here just for the draft party. It's such an exciting moment. We're thrilled to select with the first pick Caitlin Clark.
But what's really going on here? Is this simply another chapter in the WNBA's illustrious history? Or is something more important emerging before our eyes? Let's go into the facts, unpack the difficulties, and find out why Lin Dunn, one of the most respected personalities in women's basketball, is suddenly demanding quick action. Lin Dunn's interest extends beyond basketball to the fundamental fabric of the game. Dunn's perspective is unique as the Indiana Fever's general manager. She's seen the league's evolution throughout the years, including the growth of players, the intensity of rivalries, and the rising fan base. But what she sees today is different, and it troubles her terribly.
You're changing it, you're helping us change it, so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here.
Dunn is especially concerned with Caitlin Clark's supporters' conduct and the more violent techniques employed against her on the court. It's one thing to play rough. Basketball, after all, is a contact sport. But when does toughness become dangerous? That is the question Dunn is asking, and it has sparked a passionate discussion within the WNBA community. Caitlin Clark, with her evident skill and compelling charisma, has emerged as the league's lightning rod. Her supporters are fervent, her opponents are tenacious, and the result is a level of ferocity that is making headlines throughout the sport. Dunn is frustrated not just with the physical play, but also with how the game is developing, or maybe devolving, in reaction to the demands that come with Clark's ascension.
From the logo,
Caitlin Clark's influence in the WNBA cannot be emphasized enough. She's more than simply another player. She's a sensation. Clark is creating waves on the floor, turning heads, and pushing opponents to reconsider their strategy. He averages 16.3 points, 6 assists, and 4.9 rebounds per game. But what's occurring off the field is absolutely astounding. Clark's presence has directly contributed to an increase in WNBA attendance and fan engagement. In Los Angeles, 19,033 people have come to witness her performance. In Washington, the attendance was even higher. 20,333 people packed the arena to see Caitlin Clark perform. These metrics are more than just numbers. They reflect the WNBA's burgeoning popularity, which is propelled in large part by Clark's spectacular performances.
I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now...
However, all of this prosperity has brought along a new set of obstacles. As Clark continues to dominate, she becomes a target. The brutality aimed against her is rising, and it's more than simply difficult defense. It's about survival. Opponents are pushing the envelope, testing the limits, and in some instances, crossing the line. That's where the real issue is. The WNBA has always distinguished itself by its physicality. However, there is a distinction between playing hard and dirty, and that line is getting more blurred. Caitlin Clark is at the heart of this argument, since she encounters physical obstacles on the court that some feel exceed what is appropriate in competitive play.
Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 44.
Remember when Clark was hip-checked by Chennedy Carter, or when she clashed with Angel Reese? These aren't isolated events. They're part of a wider trend that's forming throughout the league. Clark has spoken out about the treatment she is undergoing, stating, "I feel like I'm getting hammered." For a player of her level to raise such worries is significant. It indicates that something has to change. The roughness thrown toward Clark is more than simply strong defense. It's about delivering a message. But what's the message? Is Clark too good, oppressive, or threatening? Or is it something more sinister, referring to larger flaws inside the league? These are the questions posed by fans, players, coaches, and experts alike. As the physicality goes up, so too does the discussion. Where do we distinguish between competitive play and harmful behavior? What constitutes appropriate on-court behavior, and when does it become excessive? These are the problems that are now front of mind in the WNBA, and Lin Dunn is determined to solve them. Caitlin Clark's handling of the court has elicited different reactions. On one side, some supporters are upset, believing that Clark is being unjustly targeted and that the brutality she is experiencing is not simply part of the game, but a purposeful effort to bring her down. These supporters are loud, passionate, and demanding change.
An accidental collision with Caitlin Clark. You see it right there. Personnel crowds around her. She ended up being okay. She said she was fine. She just got the wind knocked out of her a little bit.
On the other hand, others contend that this is just basketball. It's a rigorous sport, and if you want to be the greatest, you must be able to manage the physical demands. For some followers, Clark's situation is merely part of the game, a necessary hurdle that she must face if she wants to compete at the greatest level. But it's not only the fans who are split. The league itself is debating how to react. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert recognized the problem, saying, "I believe everyone is watching Caitlin, so their emphasis is solely on Caitlin. But when compared to other games with additional players, it is a physical game." Engelbert's remarks underline the bigger context. The WNBA is a rough league, and Caitlin Clark isn't the only one dealing with these issues.
Yeah, I mean, her first month in W, obviously, aside from the numbers, the viewership, the attendance, the way that she plays the game, you know, she's ultra competitive. Her ability to really stretch the floor and find her teammates. Obviously, there is a learning curve. And
however, Engelbert's words pose serious considerations. Is Clark's physicality merely a facet of the game, or is there more to it? Is the league doing enough to safeguard its players, particularly its superstars? What message is being sent to the next generation of players and fans? These are the concerns that are rising to the forefront as the discussion around Caitlin Clark and the physicality of the WNBA heats up. So what precisely does Lin Dunn propose? Dunn's strong words make it plain that she is unwilling to sit back and watch while the game she loves is imperiled. She is asking for quick action, urging the league to intervene and address the problem of physicality before it is too late.
About 20 seconds, maybe 15.
Why that long?
I don't know. They made me pause. You know the league. You gotta follow the directions.
Dunn isn't just speaking out, she's taking action. She allegedly submitted game videos to the league headquarters, underlining the risky play that she feels is endangering players like Caitlin Clark. Dunn's commitment is palpable. She's not just talking the talk, she's living the walk, leading by example for everyone participating in the game. But what fueled Lin Dunn's ardent determination? Why is she so adamant about cleaning up the game, safeguarding the athletes, and maintaining the WNBA's integrity? The answer is rooted in her profound passion for the game, dedication to the league, and conviction that basketball can and should be better. Dunn's call to action applies to the whole league, not just one player or club. She's making a strong message about the significance of safeguarding star players, establishing a high standard for the whole WNBA, and keeping the game fair and safe for everyone on the field.
One of our biggest wins of the season so far was our first win at Phoenix. I think that really kind of boosted us into how we're playing basketball right now.
As the WNBA expands and evolves, physicality will remain a major concern. The league is at a crossroads, and the choices made over the next several months and years will significantly influence its future. If the league can find a way to combine toughness and safety, protecting its players while maintaining the game's purity, it has the potential to reach new heights. The WNBA has the potential to serve as a model for other sports leagues, demonstrating that it is feasible to play intense competitive basketball without jeopardizing player safety.
Left to go. How important was it for this group to come out after the break and get the win?
Yeah, it's huge. I think it sets the tone of where we want to be the rest of the season. So to grind this one out and get it done, I think is just a step in the right direction. But it's one at a time, and we have another big one Sunday.
However, if the league fails to handle the problem, the ramifications might be severe. Players might continue to get injured, the game's quality could deteriorate, and spectators could lose faith. The WNBA risks losing its momentum and its status as one of the most entertaining and dynamic sports leagues in the world. The WNBA's future is in the balance, and choices taken now will define the league for years to come. It is a watershed moment in the league's history, and players, fans, and the media will all be paying careful attention. To summarize, Lin Dunn's call to action is about more than simply Caitlin Clark. It is about the future of the WNBA. The league is at a watershed moment as it deals with the problem of physicality and its influence on the game.
Yeah, I think just when I can get going early, that's when I really settle into the game and feel comfortable. And I think my third quarter wasn't great, but yeah, I think there's times where we would have crumbled, but we just kept battling and fighting, and I thought it was a really good win for us.
Dunn's drive to safeguard the players, maintain the league's integrity, and guarantee that the WNBA stays fair and safe reflects her passion for the sport. She is not just speaking out, she is also acting, setting an example for everyone participating in the game. The fight about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA has not ended, and it will continue to define the league's future. However, one thing is certain, the WNBA is a league worth fighting for, and it can achieve unprecedented heights.
Outside these 12, but know that Caitlin is going to have a bright future with USA Basketball, and I think, the points that she made, she's even more motivated, more hungry, and just knowing that her time is going to come.
As fans, players, and the media continue to weigh in on this topic, the WNBA's future will be molded by the choices made today. It is a watershed event in the league's history, with long-term implications for the game. So where are we going from here? The solution is up to the league, the players, and the fans. It is up to all of us to keep the WNBA a league we can be proud of, one that is tough, competitive, and fair. And with leaders like Lin Dunn at the forefront, there's little question the WNBA is in capable hands. In recent years, the world of sports has seen a stunning surge in the importance of women's athletics, a phenomenon that has not only reshaped the playing field, but also challenged long-held beliefs. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are two amazing athletes who are leading the charge. While their paths have been different, their influence on the sports world has been nothing short of revolutionary. On the one hand, Caitlin Clark's recent accomplishments have established new standards, captivated audiences, and inspired young athletes throughout the world. Angel Reese's climb to celebrity, on the other hand, has been welcomed with both affection and condemnation, especially when Dan Patrick publicly rejected her. These incidents provoked extensive discussion, shedding light on larger themes such as gender, media coverage, and the changing face of women's sports.
So it's no fun, but I know me and Kayla will go at it if anything, just out of competition though. She wants to win, I want to win, and we're both just two great players that want to compete.
Angel Reese, noted for her basketball skills, has swiftly become a household figure in the world of women's sports. Reese, who was born and reared in Baltimore, Maryland, has achieved great success through dedication and perseverance. Her early career saw her excel in high school basketball, where she won multiple awards and established records. Reese's adjustment to collegiate basketball was simple, and she immediately established herself as a major player for the University of Maryland's women's basketball team. Her NCAA achievements have been nothing short of outstanding, and her ability to score, rebound, and defend makes her one of the league's most versatile players. However, Reese's journey to celebrity has been subject to controversy. Her bold and outspoken personality has made her a divisive figure in the sporting world. Some like her outspoken attitude, while others criticize her for what they see as arrogance. Regardless of the conflicting comments, there is little doubt that Reese has had a huge influence on women's basketball. Her ability to attract attention, both on and off the court, has raised the sport's popularity and sparked debate regarding the public image of female athletes.
Reese the old board, Reese the putback.
Offensive board leads the WNBA in that category. Well done.
All right, fair assessment. Nice pass from Clark. Yeah, first minutes. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, what a dime from Clark and Jones.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has stunned the basketball world with her exceptional skill and competitive passion. Clark, who grew up in West Des Moines, Iowa, started playing basketball at an early age. Her enthusiasm for the game was obvious from the outset, and she soon rose to the ranks of high school standouts, smashing records and receiving national acclaim as one of the best prospects. Clark's transition to college basketball was punctuated by a number of standout performances that cemented her position as a budding talent. She has frequently given jaw-dropping performances while playing for the University of Iowa, including many 40-point games and clutch shots that have astounded fans and observers.
Yeah, I think for me, anytime you go up against somebody that's super competitive and has that same drive and will to win, that's what you love. That's what competitors love. These type of games is what makes our game so great. It's what people want to turn on the TV and watch. I expect the viewership numbers to be through the roof for this. Yeah, I can definitely relate to the pressure that she probably feels on the weight of her shoulders, and that's a lot to deal with somebody that's 22 years old and has that many eyeballs on her, and being able to manage that, and I know she probably has a lot of people around her that help her, and that's definitely something unique.
Clark's effect on the game extends beyond her remarkable stats. Her playing style, which features a deadly mix of shooting, passing, and court vision, has distinguished her from her colleagues. She has been likened to some of the best players in the sport's history, and her ability to produce under pressure has given her the distinction of being one of the game's most clutch players. As her fame rises, Clark's impact goes beyond the court, motivating a new generation of players and redefining women's basketball expectations.
Minutes. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, what a dime from Clark. And Jones
Makes Caitlin Clark elite at the very top in terms of players.
first time.
Dan Patrick, a well-known character in sports journalism, has long been recognized for his honest thoughts and important voice in the profession. His opinion on sporting events and athletes often has a substantial impact, molding public perception and provoking debate among fans and specialists. However, his recent comments regarding Angel Reese have sparked widespread outrage, highlighting the intricacies of media portrayal and the problems that female athletes face.
She didn't speak to the media after the game against Caitlin Clark, but a member of the Chicago Sky, the national title winner at LSU, and she talked about where all this attention started with her and Caitlin Clark, and she had this to say.
The event in issue happened during one of Patrick's radio appearances when he publicly chastised Angel Reese for what he saw as unsportsmanlike behavior during a major game. Patrick's disapproval of Reese extended beyond her on-court activities. He also criticized her confident demeanor and outspoken temperament, implying that she needed to tone down her personality if she wanted to be taken seriously in the sports world. These remarks instantly went viral, sparking a flurry of responses on social media and throughout the sports world.
If she would have left it with what she had to say right before the last couple of words, I would have been fine with it. She's embraced the villain. She understands social media. She's done quite well. She is cashed in, literally cashed in.
The consequences of Patrick's rejection of Reese go beyond her career. It emphasizes the continual fight for female athletes to be recognized and acknowledged on par with their male counterparts. Reese's experience serves as a reminder that despite the progress achieved in women's sports, major hurdles need to be overcome. The event also highlights the role of media coverage in molding public impressions of athletes, especially female athletes, as well as the need for a more egalitarian and inclusive approach to sports criticism.
But her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark. Because she wins the national title, first thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark. Then she's played off of that. Even Caitlin Clark getting knocked down in that game on Saturday, who's standing up applauding but Angel Reese. So she's sort of embraced a Draymond Green role here.
While Angel Reese dealt with the consequences of Dan Patrick's criticism, Caitlin Clark was creating history on the basketball court. Clark performed a masterclass in scoring, passing, and leadership during a recent game that has been recognized as one of the finest performances in college basketball history. Her effort not only helped her team win a key game, but also established a new bar for what is possible in women's basketball. Clark's game-changing moves extended beyond her performance on the court. Off the court, she has been a vocal champion for gender equality in sports, utilizing her position to highlight the discrepancies between men's and women's athletics. Her stance has resonated with both fans and other athletes, gaining her great affection and respect. Clark's initiatives have also highlighted the need for more investment in women's sports, ranging from improved facilities and resources to expanded media coverage and commercial possibilities.
Holly's fighting through it today. Here's Clark bodying in, head banking it home. Caitlin Clark with 20 points and assertive to the cup. Here's Clark bouncing, Boston hitting.
The cultural significance of Clark's recent acts cannot be emphasized. Her success has inspired a new generation of athletes, especially young girls, who regard her as a role model for what they may do. The media coverage of her accomplishments has also led to a change in the narrative around women's basketball, with greater emphasis placed on the ability, talent, and competition of female players. This increased awareness can draw more fans to the sport, resulting in additional chances for women's basketball at all levels. Clark's effect is seen on a global global scale. Her triumph has rekindled interest in women's basketball in places where male sports have historically dominated the sport. International fans have taken note of her skills, and there is rising speculation regarding her future in professional basketball, whether in the WNBA or elsewhere. Clark's ascent to fame exemplifies the ability of sports to cross boundaries and bring people together, and her influence on the game will be felt for years.
Hit the three in the corner, Boston the rebound, Clark a good look, she got it. Had missed her first 6 from deep, but no hesitation there. Oh, what a dime, Clark to Boston!
Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese's experiences provide a captivating case study on the interaction of gender, media, and sports. The way these two athletes are depicted in the press indicates a lot about the difficulties that female athletes experience in achieving the same degree of notoriety and respect as male competitors. It also emphasizes the importance of media coverage in molding public opinions and larger cultural narratives around sports. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has received much acclaim for her confidence and competitive spirit, raising issues about why the same attributes are valued differently in different athletes. Part of the answer might be the way the media develops storylines around certain athletes, which are often based on preconceived assumptions of what a female athlete should look like. These myths are tough to dispel, and they influence how the public perceives athletics.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. We knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41% shooting, 33% from three-point range, leading the league in assists. Her last 5 games, Shannon, 22.5 points per game on 46% shooting, 11.4 assists per game. They've won 4 of their last 5, and now the Indiana Fever are 7th place overall and in playoff positioning.
Social media has also had a significant impact on how the public perceives Clark and Reese. Platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok have allowed athletes direct access to their followers, enabling them to manage their narratives to a degree. However, social media can be a two-edged sword, amplifying both good and negative criticism. Reese describes social media as a war where she has had to defend herself against detractors while simultaneously creating a dedicated audience. Clark has used it as a platform to exhibit her accomplishments and communicate with people all around the globe.
Obviously, people don't understand, like, if they think it's personal, but when I get between the lines, if friends or anything, if my teammate right here went to play for another team.
The interaction of gender, media, and sports is complicated and influenced by a range of elements, such as societal expectations, media practices, and individual personalities. Clark and Reese's tales underscore the need for a more nuanced approach to sports criticism, one that acknowledges the specific problems that female athletes confront and attempts to encourage, rather than criticize them. As the media landscape evolves, there is a potential to create a more fair and welcoming atmosphere for all athletes, regardless of gender. This increased exposure has the potential to open up new options for female athletes, notably in terms of sponsorship and financial assistance. As more people become aware of the potential in women's sports, businesses may be more willing to invest in female athletes and provide them with the resources they need to thrive. This in turn might set off a virtuous cycle in which higher investment leads to improved performance, which attracts more fans and investment. However, some issues must be addressed. The occurrences involving Dan Patrick and Angel Reese illustrate the persistent problem of gender prejudice in sports and the need for more fair and inclusive media portrayal. There is also the matter of how to maintain the momentum created by the achievements of players such as Clark and Reese. While their tales have drawn attention to women's sports, this focus must result in long-term change rather than just a fleeting fad.
Angel Reese following you around, pointing to her ring finger and taunting you?
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, be grateful that my team was in that position.
A variety of variables, including sustained athlete advocacy, changes in media practices, and growing sponsorship and fan investment, are expected to define the future of women's sports. Women's sports are increasingly being seen as deserving of the same amount of attention and respect as men's sports, and the tales of Clark and Reese are contributing to this shift. As more people become aware of female athletes' skills and efforts, women's sports chances will expand. As we look forward, the tales of Clark and Reese remind us of the necessity of encouraging and promoting women's sports. By recognizing and honoring female athletes' accomplishments, we can contribute to a more inclusive, equal, and exciting sports environment for everyone. We can all help shape the future of sports by increasing funding, improving media coverage, or just turning up to support women's sports. And as Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have shown, the future is bright.
Just can't avoid talking about length. Hand in her face, drains it anyway.
In the realm of sports, it is uncommon to see a player who not only succeeds at their craft, but also reshapes the sport itself. Caitlin Clark is one such athlete. Caitlin Clark, whose name has become associated with greatness, tenacity, and groundbreaking exploits, is more than just another star player. She is a force of nature who is changing the course of women's basketball and sports in general.
The ball up in time, Clark for the win! She does it time and time again, the 40-piece, and walks off.
Caitlin Clark, who was born and raised in West Des Moines to Iowa, had a challenging path to becoming a sports star. She had a lifelong love for basketball and spent endless hours perfecting her talents on the court. Clark's skill was obvious from an early age, and by high school, it was clear that she was bound for success. Greatness, however, is more than simply skill. It is also about determination, resilience, and a desire to push the limits of what is possible. Clark exemplified all of these attributes, plus more. Clark's abilities were fully on show at Dowling Catholic High School. She was a scoring machine, guiding her team to multiple triumphs and receiving recognition along the way. What distinguished her was not just her ability to score points, but also her basketball IQ, court vision, and leadership. Clark was more than simply a player. She was the lifeblood of her squad. She improved the people around her, which would serve her well when she progressed to the university level.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID. And then obviously my sophomore year, we had good crowds. The curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So, yeah. I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
Clark not only met, but exceeded expectations when she started at the University of Iowa. As a freshman, she dominated the NCAA, averaging 26.6 points per game and topping the country in scoring. Her exploits were electrifying, evoking parallels to some of the best players in the sport's history. But for Clark, this was just the beginning. Her sophomore and junior years saw her develop her game even further, making her a triple-double threat and a nightmare for opposing defenses. By the time she declared for the WNBA draft, she had become a household name. Clark came into the WNBA with high hopes after being selected as the first overall choice by the Indiana Fever. And once again, she not only met, but exceeded their expectations. In her first season, she became the first player in Indiana Fever history to record a triple-double. This was no minor effort given the league's skill level. However, Clark's effect extended beyond her on-court accomplishments. Her arrival invigorated the Fever, a squad that has struggled to find its foothold in previous years.
The Indiana Fever are busting down the door of the second half of the season. They be one of the best teams in the league tonight at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Final score 98-89 over the Phoenix Mercury.
It's a sold-out crowd here in Gainbridge Fieldhouse as the Indiana Fever return for the second half of the 2024 season. And the 2024 season is one these fans will never forget.
Clark's entrance constituted a watershed moment for the Fever. Since May, nearly 186,000 fans have attended her home games. This wasn't simply a local phenomenon, it was a national spike in interest in women's basketball, fueled mostly by Clark's star power. The Fever's games quickly became must-see events, drawing fans from all walks of life anxious to see the next chapter in Caitlin Clark's illustrious career. However, Clark's presence had far-reaching consequences outside the court. Her Indiana Fever shirt rapidly became one of the most in-demand things in sports, selling out in all sizes within days of release. This was more than simply products, it was a cultural movement. Clark demonstrated that women's sports could produce the same amount of enthusiasm, engagement, and financial success as their male counterparts, and the world took notice.
It's our first time here, so we're just excited to come from Iowa, to come here, help support women's sports, basketball, Caitlin Clark, the whole business.
It's everything. Girl dad, shout out all the girl dads out there. I love it to be able to come here, have fun, give my daughter the trip up. It's a trip of a lifetime.
My wife talked me into getting season tickets last year, and I'm so glad she did because we enjoy the heck out of this. This is just amazing.
We're ready to scream our lips off.
Yeah, I'm ready to lose my voice.
Clark signed an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike, the most lucrative endorsement agreement ever for a women's basketball player. This was more than simply a personal win for Clark. It was a victory for women's athletics in general. The arrangement included the launching of her own branded sneaker, a feat that few athletes, male or female, have ever accomplished. Clark was tearing down boundaries and creating new standards, not just for herself, but for every young girl who aspired to be a successful athlete. This degree of achievement, however, has its own set of obstacles. Any athlete might feel overwhelmed by the pressure to perform, media scrutiny, and fan expectations. But Clark has handled everything with elegance and modesty. Despite the plaudits, she has stayed grounded, concentrating on her game and her role as a teammate. In interviews, she often downplays her solo triumphs, focusing on the significance of team success and the involvement of her coaches and teammates in her path.
This is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much. And I just feel really grateful to be here, and I've put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years. But like Coach Bluder and Kate said, like there's still so much more fun to have, and we're not done. There is.
Clark's modesty and commitment to her art have only made her more popular among admirers. She has become a role model not just for young athletes, but for everybody who values hard work, tenacity, and dedication to success. Her effect is felt not just in the United States, but all across the globe, as her tale encourages young athletes to follow their ambitions regardless of the hurdles. The ascent of Caitlin Clark is part of a larger trend in women's sports. Over the last several decades, women's sports have made great progress in terms of visibility, participation, and financial investment. However, the trip has been complex. For many years, women's sports were ignored, with less media attention, poorer pay, and fewer possibilities for athletes to participate at the top levels. However, things are changing, and Caitlin Clark is at the vanguard of this transition.
The team do without said player. And for me, you take Caitlin Clark off the floor, I mean, that just creates so many issues for Iowa.
Tough shot there, got it to go past Cunningham.
Clark's success reflects the progress that has been achieved, but it also emphasizes the work that has to be done. While her accomplishments are admirable, they also highlight the persistent inequities between men's and women's athletics. The fact that her $28 million contract is the wealthiest ever for a female basketball player is important, but it also serves as a reminder of the financial disparity that remains in sports. The WNBA has had its own set of issues throughout the years. Despite its amazing skill, the league still needs to achieve the same degree of notoriety and support as the NBA. However, with women like Caitlin Clark leading the way, the league is starting to evolve. Attendance is up, good sales have skyrocketed, and social media engagement is at an all-time high. The Fever presently leads the WNBA in terms of social media engagement, video views, and follower acquisition. This clearly indicates that interest in women's basketball is rising, as is the possibility for further financial commitment and support.
But the other thing I like that Jalen Sherrod talked to us about was just this team and the grit and the pride and the toughness as Caitlin Clark knocks down a three. There are a lot of Iowa fans here in Seattle, and Caitlin with the steal and the stick.
The popularity of Clark and the Fever demonstrates the power of narrative in athletics. The story of Clark's journey to popularity, her record-breaking accomplishments, and her influence on and off the court has fascinated spectators worldwide. Social media has played an important part in this, with clips from her games becoming viral and her interactions with fans being widely shared. The Fever has had over 800 million video views across all platforms, outperforming major leagues such as the NBA and NFL throughout this period. This degree of involvement is unique for a women's sports team and demonstrates the impact of Clark's tale. However, as Caitlin Clark continues to reach new heights, Team USA confronts serious obstacles in the 2018 Olympics. The addition of 3-on-3 basketball has provided a new depth to the tournament, but it has also presented the US team with a number of unexpected problems. Despite their dominance in conventional basketball, this has prompted worries about their capacity to compete at the top levels and recover their global supremacy.
You know, it speaks really highly to the player that Caitlin is, to the superstardom that she's created, for people to feel this strongly about something that most of us who know basketball just know it makes sense. Like, everyone that has really made a case for Caitlin has made it on the side of marketing. That has been their main emphasis. That has been their main point. Even Stephen A., when we were going back and forth about it, and he was like, I understand the basketball perspective.
The current United States 3-on-3 squad includes renowned players such as Canyon Barry and Jimmer Fredette, both of whom have outstanding backgrounds. However, the team needs more star power from NBA players, raising concerns about their potential to compete with the best teams in the globe. FIBA restrictions have made it tough for NBA players to participate, and the NBA season's overlap with the 3-on-3 season complicates things even more. This scenario has sparked criticism of NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, who has been accused of putting sponsorship agreements ahead of the team's best interests. Many think that the NBA's influence on USA basketball is excessive, and that this has resulted in choices that have harmed the team's prospects of success. The United States team's dismal defeat to the Netherlands in a recent tournament has further fueled the flames, with many fans and commentators doubting the program's future orientation.
Caitlin is a great player, and I think the way that she's kind of came into this league, she's continuing to hold her own and show everyone what she can do. I think that, you know, I'm excited to go alongside these 12, but know that Caitlin is going to have a bright future with USA basketball. And I think, you know, the points that she made, she's even more motivated, more hungry, and just knowing that her time is going to come.
Team USA's difficulties extend beyond the absence of NBA players. In addition, financial factors have made it tough to lure elite players to the 3-on-3 squad. The salary for 3-on-3 athletes is much lower than what they might make in the NBA or elsewhere, making it less appealing to elite players. This has resulted in Team USA needing help to deploy their strongest lineup, placing them at a disadvantage in international contests. The emergence of Ice Cube's Big Three League has complicated matters even more. The Big Three has gained popularity as an alternative to conventional basketball forms, prompting concerns that the NBA regards it as competition. Some argue that the NBA would rather see Team USA fail in 3-on-3 basketball than give the Big Three more credit. In response, Ice Cube has promised a financial incentive for the gold medal winning team to participate against the Big Three All-Stars, potentially raising the reputation of 3-on-3 basketball and putting more pressure on Team USA.
You know, honestly, I'm just focused on this right now, one thing at a time. Can't always just be moving on to the next. My focus is right here.
As the Olympics approach, the question remains, will Team USA overcome these hurdles and restore its dominance? What about the international stage? The financial gap, a dearth of NBA players, and the emergence of other basketball forms all make it difficult. However, the team's tenacity and the backing of its supporters might be the difference. Since uncertainty, Caitlin Clark continues to excel, establishing new marks and inspiring a generation. Her narrative is about determination, skill, and the ability to alter the game forever. As we prepare for the Olympics, one thing is certain: the world of sports is changing, and Caitlin Clark is leading the push. Clark's experience demonstrates that transformation is possible, even in the face of hardship. Her effect on women's athletics is evident, and it will be felt for years to come. Young athletes all around the globe look up to her as more than simply a top player. She is a pioneer who has opened the path for them to pursue their ambitions. Clark's legacy will be one of breaking boundaries, establishing new standards, and demonstrating that women's sports deserve equal respect, support, and funding as men's sports. The obstacles that Team USA faces in the Olympics are enormous, but they also provide an opportunity, a chance to evaluate the program's goals, invest in the growth of 3-on-3 basketball, and secure the United States' continued dominance on the world scene. The road ahead will be difficult, but with the appropriate preparation, moments of inspiration, and the ability to bring people together, Caitlin Clark has already provided us with several examples of these moments, and as her career continues, we should expect many more. Stay tuned for additional updates on Caitlin Clark's journey, the progress of women's sports, and Team USA's next challenges. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave your opinions in the comments. Thank you for watching.